Hey traders, Jeremy here. It is Wednesday, November 1st, about 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. So I am not usually one to showboat, and I hope this doesn't come across like that, even though there is a bit of exaggerated potential here. So I can see how it might come across that way. But I am a huge proponent of teaching. And right now, I have an opportunity in the futures market to make 10,000, maybe 20,000, potentially even $30,000 with basically no risk between now and the end of day Friday. So if that sounds weird to you, let me explain. So in the futures market, it trades basically 24/7 except for 1 hour a day break during the week, and then it closes Friday afternoon until Sunday afternoon. So it's closed that chunk over the weekend. Now, what that means is that when I'm trading futures on Bitcoin, for example, which trades 24/7, if I hold through the weekend, there is a gap where none of my stop losses are going to protect me to the downside. That's not great, right? There's also a 1 hour time frame during the day, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time each trading day, that I'm not going to be protected. So I need to be very careful if I hold through that time frame. Now, how am I going to make 10,000, 20,000, maybe even $30,000 potentially in the trade that I just entered? So if you know me and you've been following any of my stuff, you know that I'm a big proponent of futures and day trading. So we had this crazy action on this morning's price action for Bitcoin. I actually got tapped into a trade here on a breakout of this consolidation zone that we've had over the past week. I thought that we were going to break and run. So I had a pending order that triggered me in, ripped up, and could have taken about a $1,500 profit had I been in front of my computer, but I was not there to move my stops and adjust it because it happened at about 5:30 in the morning, and I was not up for another 40 minutes. So instead, it whiplashed back down and actually ended up tapping me out for a loss here this morning. I was kind of bummed about that, to wake up and already have a loss on the books and not even have been in front of my computer yet. That always sucks. And this kind of volatility doesn't happen very often, but it is part of trading. So what happened? We whipsawed back down. We got into this support zone right here. And then buying started to happen. And I was actually pretty hesitant to buy this dip. With that much volatility and power to the downside, I did not trust this bounce. So I waited and watched, and eventually waited for this ultimate break to happen a second time. I wanted to see if price was really actually going to hold that level and blast through again. So this blue line is the new entry to the trade that I took. So I took this trade. Currently, if we go to the Analyze tab, this little dot right here, that yellow little line, is the profit mark. So right now you can see I'm up basically $3,000 on this position. This red hash is my break even. And right here at a profit of roughly $465 is where my stop loss is. So you can see right here, if I hover on here, it says below 3,000 or 35,400 is my stop. And I'm targeting all the way up to potentially 42,000. Now, I am not just going to walk away from my computer and let it rip and roll. I'm going to be watching this very intensely on the way up and chasing my stops up on the way up. But I want to give this position some room to run, because if I drop this out to a daily chart, you can see we had this massive consolidation zone, big institutional buying pressure, and now we are breaking out of a very, very important zone at 35,000. Now, where can we go? Let's toss this out and look. We're breaking through this lower resistance line right now, and I've just kind of marked a few interesting spots. So 37,500, the round whole number, psychologically really important, of 40,000, and my ultimate target around 42,000. So when Bitcoin gets going, it can really rip and roll. You can see that over here. It just knows no bounds, and the momentum can be very, very exciting, but it can reverse just as quickly, right? So it's important, if you're taking these kinds of trades, to be able to be in front of it. So now let's drop down to this hour chart, and I'm going to show you what's going on in a little bit more of a micro setting here. So we're zoomed in. We had the initial pop. At current prices, like I said, I'm up currently 3K on this position. This white line right here is actually my stop. So it's set at 35,400. And my entry is down here at 35,315. So I'm going to have potentially about $465 of gain, even if this rolls over and kills the trade and does absolutely nothing from there. That's worst case scenario. So I have zero risk right now until 2 p.m. tomorrow because my stop losses are going to work all through the night and all through the trading day tomorrow until 2 p.m. From 2 to 3 p.m., there's a gap where I won't be protected. So at like 150, I'm going to have to make a decision of whether to hold or let it ride, right? So now looking at targets, if we go up to this 37,500 zone, which is very, very doable on this weekly chart, you can see that is just a stone throw away, less than half an ATR basically of 1 week's move. So if I get up to 37,500, looking at this chart coming on out here, that's almost an $11,000 gain. Now, what happens if we make it out to this $40,000 mark, which is highly anticipated by Bitcoin enthusiasts and crypto enthusiasts? So what happens if we get out to that $40,000 line? That is a $23,500 potential gain. And finally, what happens if we just hit the home run and this really gets exponential momentum going and gets up here to that 42,000 mark, which actually isn't even really the upper end of resistance. We could chase this all the way up to potentially 47.5, but I see all these wicks right here, and I don't want to necessarily hold past that unless I am right in front of my computer and chasing my stops up step by step. So what happens on our risk graph if we go out to this ultimate 42,000? That would be a $33,500 gain. And it's all based on a risk-free trade at this point because I got in, I saw my signals, and now I have a stop protecting me for basically the next 19 hours with no possibility really of anything other than making about $460 or slamming a home run or potential grand slam. So that is the power of futures market. That is the power of knowing what you are doing in trading. If you are excited about trading, if you want to learn how to trade, hit me up. If you have been trading for a while and don't particularly like your stats, hit me up. I'm here to help. I'm excited to share what I'm up to with people. We have a free Facebook group you can join. So anyways, I will leave it at that. I will check back in and show you guys again in a video how this trade wraps up. But very excited for the potential here, and especially when it comes to a risk reward perspective, because with no risk, the gain is basically infinity in the ratio perspective. So kind of cool, right? All right, guys, I will talk to you soon and I'll give you an update.